What's going on, guys? On today's agenda, we are putting the turbo in the 240. We are putting the steering rack in the 240 and hopefully getting this thing running. Still a little bit of work to do, a lot of buttoning up to do, but I want to start this thing. Sometime today, I will have to go out to the auto parts store to get some oil, to get some coolant, to get some transmission fluid if I don't have a shit ton here, but I might. Yeah. The goal today is to get this thing running. I'm gonna put this turbo in, probably put you guys on a time lapse. Sorry about the last time lapse. I don't know how to put music into a time lapse or any kind of like little tunage going on, but it's gonna be another silent time lapse until I figure out how to import some music and not get copywritten. Granted, I don't get a lot of views, so probably won't get hit with any kind of copyright. But yeah, I'm gonna put you guys on a time lapse of me trying to fish this turbo in here. So unfortunately, I am already running into a little mishap. My coolant feed banjo bolt is missing a copper washer, and I am having a hard time finding one right now. Not quite sure where I put it, so I'm gonna take a couple of minutes, search around this giant mess of parts and see what I can come up with. All right, so I got a little ahead of myself. After the time lapse, I went to the parts store. I also went to my buddy Mike's and picked up a couple of things. I got the wrong washer, the copper washer. I got the wrong one. So the coolant line's not on right now, but the turbo is on. The manifold's on, everything's nice and tight now. I have the O2 sensor hooked up, and then my buddy Joe stopped by and we knocked out a little bit more work. We have the steering rack in, and unfortunately I did not record showing you guys how to center a rack, but to make it, I'm not gonna say easier because it's probably gonna be a little confusing how I explain it, but I ended up turning the rack all the way until it bottoms out, for a lack of a better term. But I pulled it out, centered it, and how I did that was after I bottomed out the rack, I counted how many turns it would take to go all the way to the other side of the rack to bottom it out again. So that was, I think, 3.5, 5/8 maybe turns. So what I did was I divided that in half, which would have been, I think, 3 3/8, somewhere around there. So or 1 3/8. So what I did was I spun the rack one turn, and then about almost another half a turn. And then I just slid it up into the steering shaft, and that is a center that I think I can get it. There's probably a little bit more of a science to it. Not too worried about it. It'll align just fine. If it doesn't, all I really have to do is drop the rack a little bit, recenter it, and go from there. I really wish I could have showed you guys, because it would be a little bit more understandable when I'm actually showing you guys what I'm doing. But like I said, you just turn the rack all the way until it bottoms out, then you turn it around again, and while you're turning it around, you count how many times it spins around, and you always start from where the point. So like what I did was I had my little U-joint piece on the rack itself, so where the bolts lined up and where it's all straight, I did it that way. I counted from where that gap was in between the fitting, and I spun it around, so it came around. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3, and then it went around again about another half turn almost, and so I counted that backwards. From the half turn, I went 1 full turn, and then I went almost you could say a second turn, and then notched it back a good, say, 40 degrees, and I believe that's as centered as it can be. I probably did it wrong, but who knows. But yeah, the rack is centered. I'm gonna go under there and tighten up the bolts for the collar, the U-joint collar, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna tighten that up. But like I said, I did not get the correct washer, the copper washer for my other coolant line, so I can't fill the car up with coolant yet. But then again, I don't even have my Venturi kit, and I wanted to use the Venturi kit so I don't have to sit here and bleed it and bleed it and bleed it, since I don't have the bleeding funnel. The Venturi kit is super awesome. Once I get that back from work, I will show you guys how I fill my coolant with that Venturi kit, because it's a lifesaver. And I mean, you can fill your coolant up and bleed it in 5 minutes. It's fantastic. But at this point, I'm going to put the tie rods in, tighten up the steering rack, fill the transmission fluid, and yeah, we're almost ready to start it. I have transmission fluid. I did not get oil for the motor, so I have to get oil for the motor, and then from that point, all we have is little wiring here and there, which is going to be a major pain in my ass because I hate wiring. But wiring and what is that? Oil catch can. With a turbo car, especially when you're pushing more boost and everything, you want an oil catch can. So I need to put that on as well. Oh, and a turbo oil drain. I'm actually going to take you guys down there and show you at least time lapse, or we're going to do something under there. I'm going to show you guys, all right? So we'll tighten up the bolts, put that oil drain in, and maybe do some wiring today. I have a couple more friends coming out. I don't know if they're coming out or not. You never really know. You never bank on someone coming out, but if they do, that's awesome. If they don't, it is what it is. My plan was to get the car running today. It's not going to happen, but eventually, sometime this week, we will have it running. Got a little bit more done off camera. My buddy is over here helping me out. We got the power steering reservoir in, got the line going to the cooler. I need to get the line, which is actually on the ground here, from the cooler to the power steering rack, which is already in the rack. You can't really see back there, but I promise you it is in there. Buddy Cody's helping out a lot, and it looks like now my buddy Mike is here. So yeah, we're gonna try to rock and roll, put some trans fluid in the transmission, start to fasten the fuel lines and the power line up to the chassis, so that's not dangling around. Yeah, we're making some progress. Fast forward to the next day, we got the car all buttoned up to the point where we could try to start it. We have fluids in it now, transmission fluid, coolant, engine oil. Everything's all hooked up, all the wiring's hooked up, and now we're having an issue where it will not start. My battery is completely dead. I tried charging it with jumper cables and everything, and put a different battery in it, and it still wanted to crank slow. So I'm at the point where I think I have to tear apart a lot of the wiring, figure out what's going on. I tried diagnosing spark with just pulling out the coil pack and putting it on like a ground of some sorts, some kind of bolt, but that didn't work out. I didn't see any spark coming from it, so I'm going to pull the spark plug and try again, see if I'm getting any kind of spark from the spark plug. It's not looking very good right now. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to tear apart the dash and a lot of the wiring and go over it again, make sure I didn't miss any grounds. I want to check the igniter chip. I want to check the mass airflow, unplug it, see if maybe it starts then. If that's the case, then I'll need a new mass airflow. But it was working fine before I tore the car apart, so I really don't think it's the mass airflow. But who knows, it could be. There's a couple of plugs in the system that I don't know where they go, and maybe that's the root of my issue. But I got a lot of diagnosing to do. Like I said, this car ran like a top before I tore it all apart, so I know the motor's good. I know the motor didn't lose compression, so I know everything's good as far as the motor's health. So right now it's just fighting wiring, figuring out what goes where, and pretty much I need to figure out why I'm either not getting spark, not getting fuel, or maybe some kind of timing is off, even though I know I didn't tear anything apart timing wise. Right now I'm at a loss. Right now my heart's a little sore, but that's going to be the end of this video for now. Sometime in the middle of the week I'll pick back up. I'll start tearing into it, get some tools from work, because pretty limited right now from taking everything from the garage back to work because I thought I was done. But I want to thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, days, things start looking up. Right now I'm just a little doom and gloom, but we'll get there. Still excited, just a little defeated, but that comes with building cars. So yeah, like I said, this is going to be the end of the video. Hope to see you guys next time. Like I said, if you like the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because there's going to be a lot more content coming. So with that, have a great day, guys. I will see you in the next time. Peace.